All right, what's going on to the world? How's it going, YouTube? Everybody out here? Sorry about that. I had a little bit to do with the upcoming event. So just want to make sure, got on the whole prepping thing and kind of kept it going. So I'm going to give people a second to get into the room so we can get it started. So please take your time and we'll get it going. Oh, but I do want to go ahead and make sure I give a shout out to the three that are in here with me right now. I want to give a shout out to Kurimeo Aho. You got anything to say?
Peace to everybody. And to the chat, thank you for having me on, Anu. Everybody on the panel.
Then we got Opie Miha. What's going on, brother?
Peace to everybody out there in the chat. An honor to the brothers on the panel.
And we got the brother Kyle. Are you there, brother?
Yeah, peace and bliss to everybody. Look forward to hearing this good information, useful information, applicable to your lives.
Yeah, so I do want to say peace to the chat. Many blessings and thank you for stopping in tonight. And we're going to hop on and talk about survival a little bit. With the upcoming events and the uncertainty going on in the world, I believe it's something that is highly needed and should definitely be talked about in this situation. So basically, people can say it was inevitable. And when I look at survival, I don't look at survival as just survival for the most part. I look at it as a way of life, because if the system goes down that we know, we're going to have to revert back. So I'm here to possibly answer a few questions, and I'm going to be mentioning off things that are necessary for survival. Now, these things you'll find, and you can get them normally relatively cheap, some of them, but these things are going to have importance. So definitely good looking out. We'll go ahead and get it started. Now, when dealing with survival, there's three things that are absolutely necessary. One, food, water, and shelter. Shelter is the first thing you need to acquire, regardless of whatever climate you're in. Whether you find a house, a place under a tree, whether you are able to pitch a tent. Now, these things are of the utmost importance. I may go through some of them fast, and Kurimeo, he'll be helping me with the images. So I'll try and give him some time to catch up, but certain things I will breeze through. Now, the first thing when acquiring shelter, that is extremely important. If you're going to bug in, which the bug in scenario is you are going to be in a house or a specific place, say for instance, a friend's house, a relative's house, just a general location that has been agreed upon. I will get on the planning a little later, but for right now, let's stick to the basics. So a bug-in location is always necessary. Once you establish your bug-in location, establish how many people are going to be there. Generally, if you have kids, friends, or family, people who you have invited along with you in this bug-out situation, you want to make sure to account for everyone. You don't want to miss one person, because that one person can change the whole situation from having enough room to not enough, or enough water to not enough water. So your rations get broken down, food and water, supplies, etc. So you want to make sure each person is accounted for in your bug in area. But for bug out purposes, what we're going to do, perfect picture, I'm telling you. One thing that you're going to need is a good tent. A tent is something that is necessary. The reason why is because it's basically a portable house on the go. This is for a bug out situation though. For those who don't have a tent, you can even buy a heavy duty tarp. You can find those at any hardware store. A heavy duty tarp, depending on the location and where you're going to be at. You have to protect yourself from rain, the wind, and any other weather. That is going to be of the utmost importance because if you're in a cold climate, the last thing you want to catch is hypothermia or frostbite. And even if you're in a warm climate, the constant rain will eventually give you gangrene, or it just isn't healthy for you overall. Another thing that you can find, and generally at the dollar store, you can get them at Family Dollar or Dollar General, your local dollar store, is look for rain ponchos, preferably clear, but whatever color you can get, only because you don't want to use extremely bright colors because you'll attract attention to yourself. The last thing you want to do is be running through the woods and have on a very bright colored rain poncho, etc., etc. You'll make yourself an easy target and it's harder to hide. If you can find a camouflage rain tarp, that'll also work. Now, another thing is emergency blankets. Emergency blankets are of the utmost importance because if the body's cold, they help hold in heat, being able to warm yourself up. Emergency blankets don't take up much room. They're the foil blankets that you see. Very easy, packable, but make sure you get one that's slightly durable because they can tear if folded improperly or used improperly. But those foil blankets are phenomenal for keeping in body heat, and they could save your life in a situation where you're cold. Now, I'm going to try and keep some of this stuff relatively cheap, only because the economic situation isn't generally the best. And if anyone has a question on the panel, please feel free to stop me. And because, I'm going to keep it going. Any questions thus far?
All right. No, just keep going. You're good.
Okay. Now, it is of the utmost importance, bug out wise and bug in, to get a good sleeping bag. Based on your general location, whether you're going to be in hot or cold climates, you will need a sleeping bag. You can find sleeping bags that are rated for -30 degrees, -40, even -50 degrees Arctic temperatures. Even if you don't need it, it's always good to have one because you never know what situation you're going to run into climate-wise or climate-based. Say if you have to pack up and you have to go and leave your bug-in location and bug out, it's not much extra weight. On average, they run between 4 to 6 pounds, depending on which ones you get. And in warm climates, even if you don't go inside the sleeping bag, you can sleep on top of it, giving you some level from the ground and the bugs and everything that you could be laying on. So sleeping bags are very, very important. Summer, winter, spring, or fall. Now, when you get emergency sleeping kits and emergency sleeping systems, they'll come with paracord. They'll come with different things that you could possibly need. So that is very important. The majority of them do come with some form of flint, sometimes a cutter, but we're going to get into that later on in the build. So just kind of bear with me as we go. So now that we've established some form of shelter, one way or the other, and even if you have to sit in a poncho or sit underneath a tarp, the biggest thing is to protect yourself from the weather outside. Now that you've established shelter, next is to establish water. Now, water is of importance, and there's simple things that you can find. Now, bottled water, some people prefer to keep that on hand. It's handy, it's portable, The bottles can be reused time and time again. They're good for multiple uses. Now, you can get BPA free or ones that have BPA in a survival situation. I don't necessarily believe it matters as much, but if it's important, it's very important. Now that the one Kurimeo just pulled up is my recommended water filter. This is just my recommendation, but whichever one you get, that is of the utmost importance. I prefer Sawyer. Sawyer Mini generally can filter between 100,000 and 500,000 gallons of water. It also, some of them come with a backflow syringe. So if you get something stuck in there, you can backflow and it doesn't destroy the filter in its entirety. Those things are pretty good one. I have 5 of them. Even though it may be a little overkill, but you never know when you're going to need it. Other people get Life Straws. There's numerous companies you can buy a good, dependable water filter from. Now, once again, you can always go on Amazon, Walmart. There's many different stores that have Sawyer water filters. You can get the mini or the large. You can buy them in single, 2-pack, and 4-pack. The color really doesn't matter because they're all going to do the same thing. Oh, and due to the fact I can't really look at the chat, if there's any questions that pop up, if anybody on the panel, if it's an important one and you believe that it needs to be answered real quick, please bring it to my attention, only because I can't currently look at the chat. I'm reading off my notes.
Hey, Anu, I got something real quick.
Yes, sir.
Someone in the chat asked, is Life Straw a good brand?
Yeah, Life Straw is a good brand. Life Straw doesn't have the same life as Sawyer Mini. Life Straws are generally for being on the go. So when you need to run, a Life Straw is not bad. The filter doesn't filter as many gallons. So if you look at how many gallons, you get more bang for your buck from a Sawyer Mini, but a Life Straw is not a bad straw. So I would recommend both, but you're going to get more bang for your buck out of the Sawyer Mini. They both get the protozoa. They both filter out 99.9% of different chemicals in the water. Regardless of whichever one you buy.
The Sawyer Mini is the most versatile.
It's okay. You can drink out of them, but it's still always recommended, depending on your water source, to either A, boil the water to get out whatever bacteria may be in the water, because some of them don't necessarily get out all protozoa and bacteria in the water, but they filter out the large particles and small particles. So that is just a recommendation. Boil your water regardless, unless the source is absolutely clean. Always be sure to sanitize your water. Now, you can also, it's important, and I do this myself. I make sure that we get, whenever we get gallon bottles or whenever I get lemonade or a gallon jug, if we're not recycling, I prefer to keep at least 5-gallon jugs around, just in case you need to fill up water, or a 5-gallon bucket. It's easier to carry a gallon jug, and it's also safe to keep them around. So if you carry, for instance, a 5-gallon bucket and something contaminates that bucket, has contaminated all 5 gallons of water and not just 1 single gallon. For weight purposes and for movement, it's generally easier. And I apologize for being long-winded, but when it comes to survival, I believe that there needs to be in-depth explanations of certain things.
Yeah, make sure to go in depth. No problem.
So yeah, that's the biggest thing. You want to make sure that regardless of whatever water source you get it from, stream, river, or whatever, there are contaminants. And just as she showed, that's the backflow, where you bring water in and push it through to clean the filter out. Now, I myself, if you look around, depending on your area, I found them on Craigslist for relatively cheap. They're 55-gallon food grade jugs, 55-gallon food grade barrels. Those things are a lifesaver, especially if you're trying to get a larger amount of potable water, or if you want to use them with a water pump to make a shower, if you need them for cooking, if you want a bigger water supply than just a 1 gallon or 5 gallon, you can find 55-gallon food grade. You want to go food grade because you don't know the contaminants that are in there if you go with a chemical grade. So generally food grade 55-gallon barrels. Now you have to do with what you have to do. Another good thing with the 55-gallon is you can just drop in water purification tablets, and generally you'll be using rainwater from either a gutter or another source that you've made in order to supply the water. The 55-gallon drum is preferably for a bug-in situation. If the climate prevails, you can also use it for numerous other things, watering plants, animals. Of course, if you have animals, some people will bring their pets. Don't forget to make sure that you have enough rations for your pet. Your pet's going to need food, so stock up on extra food, because if you don't, you will be taking from your food source in order to feed your pet. Now, the water purification tablets are very important again. When you flip them over, you'll generally find that they have specific instructions on treating a certain amount or certain gallons of water. So whether you're treating 1, whether you're treating 50, whether you're treating, I actually have a 375-gallon water tote that I collect rainwater with for my garden, because in a SHTF situation, I want to make sure that I do have enough water. I actually have 1, I'm getting 2 more, so I'll be able to have right around 1,200 gallons of water, and you can use them for showering, different types of water, and please make sure they're food grade. You can always tell or contact the supplier and make sure they are food grade. So now that we've kind of touched on that, you can also, we'll get into power in just a moment. So those who are wondering with this system, as far as the main tank and the pump, there are alternative ways to produce power. Wind power, solar power, of course, you can always use generators, gas generators. There's even ways you can hook up alternators to bikes, and you can produce your own power that way. It's not very hard. Now, I want to get into, since we figured out the water situation and I'll show more ways in later videos how to attain water when there isn't much, as far as like harvesting the dew off the grass, your gutter systems, bug in versus bug out. So now we're going to get into food and canning. Are there any questions that need to be brought up at all, or?
Yeah. Well, somebody said if the cities go to shit, is it okay to go into the forests and mountains? Like like for example, in Los Angeles.
Okay, repeat the question, please.
He's saying, is it okay to go to the forest or the mountains if you're living in like the city, like in Los Angeles or something?
Yes. Yeah, as long as you know your terrain. The biggest thing is know your terrain and know where you're going. That is another big point, because you don't want to bug out and put yourself in a situation where you don't know not only your terrain, but your possible or plausible enemy that might be around. So if you go and you bug out into the mountains, but you don't have things like fox urine or doe urine, things to bring your food or keep things away from you, you also want to know what's in the general area. You want to know your food sources, your major berries, fruits, and vegetables. You want to know what's edible and not edible. Now, the biggest thing is you want to know what predatory animals exist in that location. You have to remember, if the cities go down and massive populations start pushing outwards, either the animals are going to push back or they're going to enter in the cities. When people leave the city and they leave their doors open, it's an easy home for animals and deer and different things to live in, so they'll easily repopulate in the empty houses. Wonderful show used to watch is called Life After People, and it shows the effects of what happens, but that's for later. Now, when you're going into the mountains, make sure you know your water source, make sure you know your elevation. You don't want to go empty-handed. You want to make sure that you take a large list of things, because the survival changes when you go into the mountains. One, the climate changes, the food source changes, and if you're out of your element, you have to be very careful. You also have to know how to catch your food, and animals, city animals versus wild animals are two completely different types of animals. So long and short, yes, phenomenal place to go, because you're probably going to find fresh rain, clean water, clean food sources. But if you're out of your element, you may not live long. So be sure you turn that into your element. Now,
I knew somebody asked, is bleach okay to use to purify water?
as far as when it comes to purifying water, I don't recommend it, but you can sanitize your water with it's 1 drop per 1,000, and it depends on the type of bleach you use. You can actually look up bleach that's specifically for that, and it doesn't take much, but yes, you can use it. Now, if you're going to dump a bunch in, no, I don't recommend it, because over a period of time, bleach, the chlorine inside bleach does eventually evaporate. So that's why in pools and different things, they have to keep chlorine going, because after it evaporates, you've gone back to just straight water. So you have to figure out your ratios of bleach to water. So, and actually, hold on, let me tell you, it is, one moment. Okay. It says bleach to 1 gallon of water. Okay. Yeah, so basically it's 1 quart per gallon. Oh no, 1 gallon, 8 drops. So you want, per gallon of water, you want 8 drops, and that's the amount of bleach. So 2 gallons, 16 drops, 4 gallons, 1/3 a teaspoon, and 8 gallons, 2/3, and then you can kind of do the math from there. So for an emergency purpose, it's cool, but I prefer, purification drops. Also, don't use anything with the scent or anything that's like, use straight bleach. Don't use anything that's pine scented, lemon scented, anything like that, because you're adding extra additives with that chlorine. So,
And no quick question.
Yes, sir.
So is it safe to say that if you are going to the woods or mountains, that you might want to start, visiting those areas right outside your cities to kind of know your surroundings?
Yes, sir. Generally finding your surroundings, and not only finding that, but finding places where you can get your resources and stocking up a cache. So once you learn your resources and your general area, and you find out where you're at, you can find your hiding spaces, where's safe, where's not safe, caves, dwellings. You never want to put yourself in a situation where you don't know where you're at night, because not only will you not get sleep, and sleep is actually a killer. People don't realize that with lack of sleep, you begin to, you get insomnia. Then from there, you start to develop mental disabilities. You start to get groggy. And if you're with multiple people, be sure you place them where everyone goes out and they all figure out the areas. So now, hopping back to food. Now, food, when you prep for things that are more long-term. You have your short-term foods, your things that are perishable, your perishable items, your stuff that needs a refrigerator. those are fine, but only for a short period of time, only because that refrigerator or chest freezer, if power goes out, will eventually go out. So you want to make sure you have non-perishables. You want, or items that are going to last a while. Ramen noodles. You want to have macaroni and cheese, crackers, canned foods, canned goods. Keep an eye on the expiration and rotate them in and out. So you always push your oldest item forward so you eat it, and your newest item stays in the back. And make sure you have a pattern of rotation to consistently keep your things. And another big thing is get food you eat. The worst thing you want to do is get something you don't like because it's on sale. Don't necessarily do that. It's okay to have some things, but if you don't eat it and you don't have a taste for it, that also hurts the morale. So just like myself, I'm big on jasmine rice. I was actually storing rice the other day, and the way I store my rice is I got 5-gallon buckets, and you can get them anywhere. It doesn't matter food grade or non-food grade because you're using Mylar bags. Now, when you're storing rice, beans, dry storage, you want to put, for a 5-gallon bucket, 2 1,000 cc oxygen absorbers. And you can make rice that will normally last a couple, generally rice will last six months to a year. But the rice that I have now can last shelf life 20 to 30 years. And I stockpile 300 pounds of rice at a time. And like I said, I don't prep for myself and just my family. I prep for someone in need when the time comes. So generally 5-gallon buckets, 5-gallon Mylar bags, and my bucket colors aren't based on I base my colors on what type of rice it is. I also mark the lid with a date and a time stamp. Then I go ahead, seal the bags. Well, I drop the 2,000 cc oxygen absorbers in. I seal the bags, and that pulls all the oxygen out of the bag, making it airtight. So all bugs, anything that's in there dies because there's no oxygen for them to live off of. So that's important. You can also buy Mylar bags, Amazon, different places like that. So just be sure that what you want for your diet, you put into your, that's what you buy for your survival foods. Oh, also know yourself. And when I say know yourself, I mean, know your energy, know your intake, because different people have different caloric intakes. So some people may need 1,500 calories. Some people may need 2,000 or 2,500 calories. It's very important to know how many calories you need, only because the body will start to eat itself. And I'm not talking about like flesh eating, but you'll start to lose weight. You'll begin to get weak. Different situations call for different things. The average body average is 2,000 calories. If you're a little bigger and if you're a little bigger of a person and you're a little bit stronger, you're going to be hacking away at wood. You're going to be carrying. Increase your calories. Increase your calories. Also, please make sure you get seasonings. Seasonings are very important. I keep stressing the importance of certain things, because even in a survival situation, don't get me wrong, eating is one of the things you're going to do, but there's no point in not liking what you eat. So I made sure I stock up on bouillon cubes, chicken, beef, vegetable, just different types of bouillon cubes. So you can always change up the meal a little bit. Then I also have rice, beans, lentils, canned tuna. You can also get, of course, like non-fat dairy milks. Apple cider vinegar is not just something to cook with. Apple cider vinegar can be used as a disinfectant. But don't want to get too far off of food. So now we know what the average person needs, between 2,000 to 2,500 calories, varying. So just be sure you get like your non-perishable. Then you have some foods that are calorie dense. That's a big thing. Look up your calorie dense foods. These are like flour, honey. Honey has a shelf life of forever. Pastas, rice, beans. These are calorie dense foods, and they don't burn off easy. They're not like not many of them are simple carbs. You want to do advanced carbs, but you want to understand your body. We'll get into that a little later on another build. Now, if you can and you have the time, get canned foods, or if you want to yourself, vacuum seal your foods. You can use the Mylar bags. Not all have to be 5 gallon. If you're doing bug out, seal 1 gallon bags, or seal what's based on the amount of food you're going to eat. You can also can your soups, can your different foods. You can can yourself, but that's generally for bug in, because you don't want to carry a whole shelf full of stuff. Also, oatmeals are very, very good. You want to make sure you have comfort foods too. You want to be sure to get comfort foods, oatmeals, just add water, pancake mix, things that are quick, because you're not going to be able to go to a grocery store and the stuff hits the fan situation. Also, because you're drinking a lot of water, which is good for you, but if you have children or people around you who aren't necessarily so water friendly, you want to make sure you grab some drink mixes, maybe some flavoring packets. I'm not going to give a specific company, but any flavoring packet that'll make a person drink. You also want to get something with electrolytes. Sometimes you want to store like a little Pedialyte just in case someone gets sick. They also have electrolyte packets you can add to water. So if someone gets sick or a stomach virus and they start to lose weight and not feel very good, you'll be able to get them back together. Now, basic dining stuff. You want to get plastic disposable forks and spoons for sanitary purposes. But I myself, when I camp, I carry my own individual personal metal kit. I have a metal kit, and it's kind of a multi-tool that has a fork, spoon, and a knife. I know that's kind of cornballish, but you never know when you'll need it. But if other people are coming, you don't necessarily know them. You don't know if they have anything or anything like that. So you want to have disposable forks, spoons, and knives. Once again, just for sanitary purposes, or if individuals who come over need to eat, preferably give them those. It's not bad to have metal, but carrying that adds a lot of weight. Metal can also be sharpened and crafted into certain weapons. Once again, that's a little later. Now, Kurimeo, if you could look up portable camping stove. Yeah, I'll wait for him to look this one up because, yeah, portable camping stove. Now, you can find numerous different types of portable camping stoves. There are different ones that either take propane. There are some that don't take propane. You have different camping stoves that don't take fuel, and you can actually load with wood. But there are many out there, and they're not very expensive. As you see, $19, $15. You can go through, and I have a video showing you how to build a portable camping stove out of a paint can and a soup can. So you can build them you can build them on your own, something you can carry, but you are going to need something to cook your food. I recommend camping stoves like slow down the Tomshu, something like that, because that one it doesn't require gas. It's literally a small portable camping stove. You go ahead and put the wood in. As it burns, it heats up. I build these out of cans. It doesn't cost you more than $2. But if you want one that's a little more durable, more professional, something like that'll work perfectly fine. You can use alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, you can actually put rubbing alcohol in there. You can use wood. You can use a couple different things in order to get it up and going. And it's good to provide heat in the general area. You can also build them out of bricks. You can build them out of cinder blocks. I can do videos on that a little later, but as you see, that's how it works. So you always want to make sure you have a stove, portable or small camping stove, because we're not going to have stoves when the stuff hits the fan. So that's going to be a very important object. That is a make or break right there. Being able to boil your water, clean your food. That one comes with the wire mesh, so you can actually cook over it. If you want to cook your meats over it, that's another good thing. So needless to say, you know, those are pretty good to use.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh yeah, I like that one. Preferably, yeah, that one's what I prefer as far as, you know, just kind of getting it in, because it's fairly easy to use, really reliable, stainless steel, so it's easy to clean. So you can use it for a lot of different purposes. But once again, if you can get one with fuel, go for it. But understand that fuel does run out, and you don't want to constantly have to look for a type of fuel, or you won't be able to do anything. Is there any questions?
There's a lot of questions actually.
Okay, start going ahead so I can get to some of these. I apologize. I don't mean to ignore anybody, but I'm reading off my notes, so I sincerely apologize. Go ahead, start throwing them out.
Well, I think everybody's taking notes. I don't see any questions actually on my phone.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, that camping stove was, like I said, good for me, but understand that there's a plethora of information right now, a plethora of information. And Kurimeo, if you see the little cooking set, yeah, right there, buy a cooking set like that, something that is small, durable, and as you see, it's got not only the paracord, it's got a good cooking set. It's something that'll work. It's lightweight because it's aluminum. Now, I don't always agree with aluminum because you can get stainless steel, but this is survival. So make sure that's how you survive. Also, it comes with a cutlery set, a spoon, a knife, a fork, different things you will need that you always won't have access to. So for something that small and for that price, you can find them a little cheaper, but grab what you can while you can. Also be sure that you have, of course, you carry a dishwashing liquid or something to clean with naturally, but you'll find a lot of sets, some with teapots and tea kettles if you enjoy a good tea, like myself. Also, teas and tinctures. Learn what you can make out of certain things, your teas, your tinctures, etc., only because boiling a tea will really help you, not only digestively, but help. As far as, yes.
What are the basic items that you can carry easily on the go? Somebody asked.
Okay, basic items you want to do, like camping stove, or bug in or bug out. Oh, well, they're saying on the go, so it's bug out.
Yeah.
Portable tent, 1 or 2 person, it works. You want to make sure it's lightweight but weatherproof. You want a cooking set like this one. You want a first aid kit. Now, first aid kit, you're going to definitely need that. You want to carry a small bottle of sanitizer, something to, the first aid kit will have alcohol, wipes, etc., because you don't want to injure yourself and be stuck. Heated blankets. What else? Oh, be sure to either pack lighters, flint, an electric lighter, portable lighter, any way to make fire, because that rubbing sticks together stuff, yeah, it's good, but you burn more energy rubbing the sticks together. They have waterproof matches, different things like that. That stick rubbing is only for Absolute essentials. Make sure you carry a mask or a bandana. Make sure you carry some type of life straw or Sawyer Mini. So make sure you cover your bases. Tent for where you're going to be staying, cooking stuff for your food, and you want to be sure to have a Sawyer Mini or a life straw for your water. So those will be your 3 essentials, and a water bottle. If I could add anything, if you can find a small fishing pole set, carry that with you, because fish will become a stable food, especially if you're out in the wilderness. A compass, of course, and you're going to need a good durable knife. Now, in order to give you exactly what you need, that's the basics, but I would have to know your area, your location. There we go, something like that. It comes with a knife, it comes with bottle opener, it comes with forks, a window smasher. I've got 3 of those kits myself.
Yep, I got it too.
Yeah, those things are phenomenal. So grab one of those kits, and believe it or not, that kit will fit in your pocket and will save your life.
Sorry.
No, you're good. But I would still recommend getting at least a spool of fishing line, a couple of fishing hooks, because fish can be a stable and they'll save your life also. So you can also, if you have any questions, you can also email me and give me specifics on your location or like your bug out location. And I could look up the climates, the areas, a general breakdown of what you're going to need. And then I can kind of set you up a list of stuff that you'll need for bug out purposes. But like I said, if you can bug in, because bug out. Oh,
I put a news email in the chat.
Okay, yeah. Just go ahead, hit me up on that. And what I'll do is I'll try my best to figure out general location, climate, and what you would need to survive in that climate. And I will set you up with just a basic. It's not going to be extreme, but just something basic. Now that we've gone over food, let's go over another essential, light. Light is something very, very big. Light is a necessity only because it's something that gives morale, and it also calms fears, especially if you're going to be in a situation where you're alone, or even with a group of people. Having light will bring the morale of the group up. Now, flashlights, they're cool. Now, you can also get rechargeable flashlights. You can get battery powered flashlights. That is my favorite. It's a solar power LED light bulb. I myself have 15 of them.
Yep, they're really good.
You charge it up in the sun and it will give you in between 12 and 15 hours of good, clear light. Those things are wonderful.
It comes with the like Android type of wire for charging. So you can even use the solar power thing to charge your phone, everything else that uses the Android type of connection.
Yeah, so you can charge them from the walls, and they keep a good long charge. It's not a short period of time, but those things are phenomenal. You can buy them in 1 packs, 5 packs, 10 packs, etc. They're really, really nice. And they're bright. Now, I did a video on being a gray man and being prepared, but we will go over that in the next video. I'll try and do that in the next day or 2. Now, you can find your solar light bulbs like those. Generally, they can run between $5-10. You can find them in pack deals. Just for me, I like those because they literally don't even weigh a pound, and they're solar powered, and generally they can get in between 2,000 to 5,000 charges off of one, and that's a lot of light for a long time. So if worst comes to worst, you can also use the small solar portable lights that you find in people's front yards. Once again, we're going off straight survival, so those small things, but those pack some serious light. I've used them. I take them with me on my camping trips. They never failed. They take abuse too. So they'll fall, they take all types of abuse. And in blackouts, I have enough that I can put in every room of my house. So nobody feels like they're, so no one has to carry a lighter. You don't have to worry about them dropping anything or burning anything down. So it's just for safety purposes. No flames, child safe, eco-friendly also. So, be sure to get batteries. The thing about flashlights and everything else is you have to have batteries. That's why I've transitioned over to rechargeable or solar powered. Only because rechargeable flashlights generally have a port identical to that one. So when you have a solar light bulb or a solar flashlight, you actually have flashlights. Cody Mail, could you look up solar powered flashlight for me? They actually have flashlights that are completely solar powered. Yeah, so you got solar powered flashlights. You have them where you got breakers on them. You have them where they just charge up straight by the sun. You have ones with the USB. There's no reason for us to be unprepared. As long as you can take a little bit of time. Oh, now the Foss Power emergency solar hand crank, that one can crank by hand and charge up. It also gives you a radio. I got 3 of those. They're wonderful. They're pretty loud. And for emergency purposes, you could check your local AM stations. And when you crank it up, change to your AM station, they'll give you emergency alerts. That's always a good one. Now, the charging isn't as reliable as most people would think, where it says it got the 2000 mAh battery. I'm not necessarily going to say it's that strong, but at the same time, you never know. It's got a good flashlight, solar powered, headlamp, charging, crank, AM FM radio, and it also it's pretty nice. Like I said, me personally, I got a couple of them. You can find them on sale too. Once again, sorry for rambling, but I do want to be in depth and let people know there are things that are needed. Make sure your stuff is waterproof and water resistant. You don't want anything that's too cheap, because the worst case scenario is you drop it, you break it, it's done. So get something that is rugged, something that is decent, and that will do so much for you. You don't want anything you have to worry about fumbling. You want to make sure you also get quick clamps. You see a lot of mountain climbers have them, people who climb mountains. They're called quick clamps, and you can always take it and clamp it on your belt so you can carry it with you and not worry about having to drop it or extra weight in your bug out bag. Now, the bug out bag, please remember, if you are going to be using a bug out bag, carry it on a regular basis. The bug out bag, you don't want to have a 80, 90 pound bug out bag and you can't carry it for long. All you're doing is slowing yourself down and making yourself an easy target, especially if you need to move fast. Battery chargers, those are important. We all know they have battery chargers. You can get them solar powered now. So if you need to charge up your cell phone, and even if communication is down, charging up your cell phone can help you out. I myself have my cell phone full of survival books. So unless there's an EMP, I have 150 survival books in my phone. So I'm constantly studying survival. I also have a few hard copies of survival books that I keep with me. But then again, you can't carry an entire library with you. So if you can, get an old, an old cell phone, download a bunch of survival stuff in it and wrap it up in aluminum foil or put it in a Faraday cage. So if there is an EMP, it'll survive. Whole different subject again. Oh, snap lights. We all know those. You remember the lights that you snap and you shake up, or the ones that you can get from the dollar store where you crack the lights and then it'll glow neon? Those are important too. I'm not going to say they're a necessity, but you can get the little snap lights. They're glow sticks. For instance, if you need to go night fishing, you can snap one and throw it in the water, and it will attract fish because the green, and they come around and get real anxious and they want to look at them. You can use them to light up caves. If your light goes out, you don't have any solar lights. They're really cheap. And depending on some of them, you can get them in different durations. You can get them in 1 hour, 2 hour, 6 hour, 12 hour. You can get them that are extremely strong, and you can get some that are a little bit weaker. Also, you can get mini snap lights. So if you're fishing at night, you put them on top of the fishing pole and you can watch if something strikes it. You don't want to put a bell on there in a stuff hits the fan situation, because that bell will draw attention. A sound will draw the attention of predators, different animals. The light, not as much. Or you could wrap your finger around the fishing line and do it that way. So pretty much we did cover food and a little bit of the lights and electricity and, the lighting. So now that we've got a lot of that, as far as solar powered.
How about the generators?
Oh, yes. Solar powered generators. If you can get solar powered generators, they vary in price and they vary in wattage. Now, these things aren't going to, if you're not getting a big one, they're not going to run your refrigerator. They're not going to run your freezer. These are more or less for recharging batteries, recharging power tools, things like that for recharging. You have to watch the wattage rating. So I myself, I kind of collect them. When I find them on sale, I'll pick them up, and I actually have a decent stock of these. None of the big ones, but some of the smaller ones. What I generally tend to do is I charge them up, and if I need to charge my power tools, I plug in the battery for those. I plug in my solar lights. When we go camping, if any of the kids want to put on their phones, if they want to charge their phones, if they want to charge their tablets, stuff like that. I'm not saying that's a necessity in a crap hits the fan situation, but it's always nice to have those commodities in order to make yourself feel better about the situation. Also, being able to have light, being able to travel. Most of them have light. Some of them have wireless charging. Just know that the average you're going to spend is about $1 per watt. And if you're going to do anything with solar power, make sure they have, I generally get ones with sine wave inverters, because what that does is the inverter allows how many watts to go in without burning it out. I also make sure that the old technology had lead acid batteries. I don't buy ones with lead acid anymore, only because a lead acid battery, the battery bank doesn't, if you have charged a lead acid batteries have a different memory. So the ones I get are these are lithium ion batteries. A lithium ion battery's charging can be interrupted at 50%, but it won't damage the cells inside the battery to charge back up to 100, 70, 80, 90%. It's best to charge and cycle them every 6 months. So if you're just going to be letting it sit in the closet, actually pull your battery bank out and use it every now and then. Just take it out, drain the battery down to about 10% and recharge it. But generally, on average, they get between 3,000 to 5,000 charges. Some of them have lasted a lot longer than that, but the general average, you can look up what their rating is, and then you can figure out how many charges they're called cycles. You also want to look into how many watts they take. So if they can take 200 watts or 250 watts or 100 watts, you want to get a panel that'll charge it as quick as possible without overloading or burning it out. I have 2 100 watt panels. They have folding panels. They have adjustable panels. Then you also have different types. I could get into that, but I'm not going to, only because, to be honest with you, It's a long, drawn-out process talking about the panels, monocrystalline versus polycrystalline, the different types of panels, what different wattage, which ones are more durable. And now in the world of, honestly, Amazon, you can look at different ratings and find different kits. I can't make general recommendations, but you want to stick what's in your price range. Generally on a panel that's a flat panel, you're going to find that they run about $1 a watt, 89 cents per watt. Now, if you're dealing with foldable, you're going to be looking at the $2 a watt range. The foldable panels are normally going to be bigger, but you can run them in series. A series means you can connect multiple panels to the same generator. But foldable ones, again, those foldable ones are going to be bigger because the cells are separated. So sorry about that. Is there any questions popping up? Cody Mayo.
People just taking notes, listening,
Oh, okay. Cool. Works for me.
giving some insight too.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, sorry, because I can't really see the chat, but I'll find a way to get that one done. I'll jump off my notes here and there and check in. Okay, boots. You want now clothing. Remember, clothing is very important. Stock up on a little extra clothing. Clothing is you're going to need it. Now, be sure to pack for your climate again. When you're prepping, always learn your climate. Your climate is something that is need to be known. You're going to need some good boots regardless of where you're at, because you don't want your feet getting cold. Some good weatherproof boots, something preferably steel-toed if you can. Packing your clothing, something that'll keep you warm in the cold weather and something that'll allow you to breathe in warm weather. Also, the terrain. You don't want to be running through the woods wearing shorts and a t-shirt if you don't know your terrain. So you want breathable pants, breathable clothing. If you want to hide yourself, then you want to be able to get things that can hide you, things that'll fit in with nature. You don't want to be wearing bright yellows unless you want to be found. If you want to be found, wear bright colors, things that generally attract. Then people are more prone to look. That just really does help out. Now, if you don't want to be found or you feel like you're in a hostile environment, something more like that. I myself have ghillie suits. I also have camouflage. I got a couple other things that can help me to hide, only because I've been doing this for a while. So, but be sure to get weatherproof socks. Be sure to get socks that are warm and comfortable. And even if you want to fit in, if you're going to be on flat terrain, get yourself a good pair of running shoes and tie your boots up. And if you're going to be in the mountains, somewhere that's going to get cold, carry a good pair of boots. You want to be comfortable regardless of, a survival situation. So, I'm trying not to go too far off of my notes. Oh, be sure, of course, you pack extra underwear. Sunglasses are important. You're going to need sunglasses, knock off that glare. Then some of the sunglasses that I use are made for fly fishermen, so I can look into the water and see the fish. Kind of takes the glare off of things. You also want sturdy work gloves. You want gloves that got a good grip, something that feels nice, something that's not going to freeze or overheat you. Because if you're going to be touching things, if you're going to be grabbing stuff, you don't know what you're grabbing. You don't know what chemicals or toxins could be on it. You don't know if it has sharp objects. So you want to be sure to get some durable gloves, because a lot of this stuff, once you rip it or you tear it, you can put it back together, but it changes what it is in general as far as the durability of it. I know I'm going a little slow, so I'm going to speed up a bit. I didn't know this would take this long. Communication. Now you can get hand crank radios like the one that Cody Mayo clicked on earlier. Hand crank radios. Always keep a spare or extra cell phone. Wrap it up and keep it in a Faraday cage. Extra cell phone batteries. because you never know if you can charge or not. A lot of the cell phones now, you can't take the batteries out. So get an old school cell phone, get one that you can buy extra batteries for, or if you do have one of those chargers, you can always recharge it. The extra cell phone batteries is just in case you drop it in water, the battery fries out. The water, the battery expands, it gets damaged. You always have an extra battery. CB and ham radio. If you're familiar with CB and ham radio, those are phenomenal. You're definitely going to need those because those will let you listen in and also let you speak to whomever, whether it be individuals, whether it be military, whether it be whoever it is that you're going to be looking out for or getting in touch with. They have mobile ham radios. You have to get a radio license, but you'll learn to use them and you'll learn to understand. Different ham radios have different ranges. Different CB, which is citizen band, have different ranges. The higher up you are, you can look around and find ones that have a 2 mile, 3 mile, 5 mile radius. So if you're with a group, you can generally stay and keep in touch with them. So that will help you out a lot. And some of the ham radios aren't very expensive, but understand you get what you pay for. So it's pretty simple on that one. So we'll cover the communications. Another big thing people forget, and this is a real big thing a lot of preppers forget, tools. Be sure you grab a multi-tool or a survival tool, Swiss Army knives, things like that. Now, those are an absolute necessity. Kurimeo, could you look up a survival multi-tool? And they actually have, it should be a survival shovel. There we go. But you got survival shovels, and the shovels turn into an axe. That's the actual singular shovel, but there's one that it does a bunch of stuff. There we go. It's, yeah, survival shovel. And it'll be an axe, it'll be a hatchet, it'll be a, they come with flint, they come with knives, they come with a plethora of things that you could use. Stuff to break windows, just all kinds of wonderful stuff. And they're not that expensive. They're just, survival shovels. And as you see, they come with axes, they come with hatchets, they come with fire starters, they come with spears, they come in different types. I have a couple of them myself. Like I said, been doing this since 2005. It come that, some of them you can use as saws. Now understand, all of them are not created equal. You want to get something that is durable. You don't want something you're just going to crack and break and you're going to have to throw it away or you're going to bend it. You don't want to do that. So you don't have to go higher end, but you want to be sure to look at the reviews on these things and make sure you get one that suits you. Because you're going to need a hatchet. You're going to need an axe. You're going to need a good multi-tool to be able to cut down trees and branches. And you're going to need to, of course, chop and break things in order to put wood in your camping stove. Knowing what type of wood and your what type of wood and your moisture levels, that's a later video. But always having one, not only to bury your waste, dig holes, set traps, but that thing will come in extreme handy. Believe me, I love those things. I've used them before. Be sure to get a multi-tool or a Swiss Army knife, something that has scissors, pliers, small knives, things that you'll need for repairs. Even like something with a small hammer, something that you can keep in your pocket. You want to make sure you have a handsaw, that's for sure. Even one of the small ones will work. But if you need to break something bigger, you want to make sure you have hand saws, vice grips. One thing that you're always going to need is carry with you at least a couple screwdrivers. Now that one's a nice kit. That one, of course, has the saw, it has that small hatchet, it has a small hammer. You know, that one would come in handy. Like I said, I don't make recommendations only because individuals have different price tags. Get what you can, and just be sure that you get something that fits and suits you. Now, with those, you're going to get into your survival knives. You're going to need a survival knife. You want something that's solid, not flimsy. You don't want to grab a butterfly knife. You don't want to get anything that's too big. 7, 8, 9-inch knives. You want something like that one that Cody Mayo just showed. You want something that's a good folding knife. You want something that's kind of small, something you can keep in your pocket, something that's kind of discreet. Even if you carry a bigger knife, you want a smaller knife. Just for, you know, your humdrum things that you have to do around. But those kits that Cody Mayo is showing, those kits generally have a decent set of, you know, it's got the small flashlights, flint. It's even got there's a whistle in there, paracord, but keep it within your budget. Weaponry is very important. Weaponry, of course, most people are going to go for firearms. Make sure you have ammunition. You could use anything, clubs, knives, axes. You want to make sure you have pepper spray. You can use anything as a weapon. So the weapons, pretty much use your imagination. You can cover those. Okay, now this is going to be a spot that I hope everyone knows. Medical. Medical is a necessity. Of course, you're going to need a good first aid kit. You want to study your medications. You want to study natural remedies. You want to study natural herbs. If you have glasses, be sure you get an extra pair of glasses. Because if you break your glasses, nobody wants to have a Velma moment from Scooby-Doo when you snap your last pair of glasses and then you're visually stuck. So be sure to pack extra glasses, know what your prescription is, and if you can, get a couple extra just cheap pairs of glasses. The last thing you want to be is visually impaired in a life or death situation. Now, your first aid kits are going to have, you know, compression bandages, gauze pads, stop bleed, hemostats, tourniquets. Be sure to get your antiseptics. You can get your antiseptics now that have forms of painkillers in them. You can get ointment that has a numbing agent. You know, you want antibiotics and slings. You want to make sure you have Band-Aids, burn cream. Oh, liquid skin is a good one too. Liquid skin works real good. Medical tape, pain relievers, stuff like Benadryl, antihistamines for anyone with allergies. You want to keep an EpiPen just in case somebody gets, if a person has a bee allergy, they get stung by a bee, carry an EpiPen, some form of antihistamines, whether it's Benadryl, anti-nausea medications. And if you're in the wild, you can take ginger for anti-nausea. Be sure to carry eye drops too. Something to wash your eyes out, and just carry your hygiene products. Now, the bug out bag, we've pretty much already covered, lightweight. But there are different bug out bags you can get, some with different pockets, some with different amounts of pockets, different sizes, different durabilities, but that's up to you. So I'm not going to take a bunch of time on that. Now, you really want to be sure to get a checklist, and you can find some, you can write down your own checklist and make sure you cover all the basics for your situation and your needs. learn basic survival skills, even if you do them out in your backyard. Don't go out there trying to use flint if you've never used flint, or a striker without using a striker. Don't get out there and try and start a fire without ever learning. If you have the time now, learn how to start fires. Learn how to use like the bandages. Learn how to use certain kits. Learn how to read everything you can about first aid while you have the chance. Like, that's probably going to be one of the biggest things. Learn and educate yourself on first aid. Learn and educate yourself on everything you can for the moment, because no one knows what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. So that's the main thing. Just keep up with that and going. Now we're going to step into the realm of learn your medical preparedness. You can go buy books. I mean, go to half price books, go to anywhere where you can find these books. Go to the library, get PDFs, research, print them out, keep them with you, download them in your phone. I mean, you can find all kinds of survival PDFs. So those are more or less kind of a necessity. The worst thing you can do is get out there not knowing how to survive and think you know what you're doing, because you're probably going to make a mistake, and in a crap hit the fan situation, there is no room for trial and error. So learn these things while you can. Like I said, be sure to make a checklist. The checklist, and pass it out to your family. You can grab a checklist and make sure that you got everything that you need. Your emergency blankets, your tents, your tarps, your bug outs. Yeah, see all these different books that he's pulling up. They have them and they're not very expensive. If you can find an old school Boy Scout book from like the 70s or 80s, those things are jammed packed with information. Right now, we have a plethora of information at our fingertips. And if we don't use it, we will lose it, because you don't necessarily know what's going to happen or when it's going to happen. Are there any questions? Okay, I'll take that as a no for the time being. But yeah, be sure to learn.
Yeah, I've shared about 7 or 8 survival books in my Patreon, my patrons. Is anybody?
Yeah, Cootie Mail can definitely link you up. Yeah, all this stuff is very, very important. And I want to thank everybody who's putting information in the chat. Like I said, I can't really look at it. I'm trying to sneak back and forth and take a glimpse.
Opie's been taken care.
Okay, good. And a lot of this stuff is very affordable. It's not high dollar. It's not, I mean, you can literally find survival books for $3 and $4. You can find PDFs. You can find all types of stuff. So please, while we have the time, get as much of this stuff as you can, because it is a necessity. Now, as far as overall survival, weaponry, the weapon is depending on the person, what you feel comfortable with. It's what you feel comfortable with. What weapon weighs the best in your hands? What weapon feels the best? Which weapons you're good with? Bow hunting, it's phenomenal. It's quiet, and it doesn't give away your position. Gun, a lot of people rely on guns, which I don't knock that, but a gun gives away your position. If you give away your position, you have to move fast. So if you can avoid using a gun, I prefer to, only because you give away your location, and 2, if somebody wants your gun, they will try to find ways to get it. And if they have a firearm, they'll just accumulate a larger amount of firearm. And based off of the round, Many people can hear a type of firearm and know exactly what round the individual has. So therefore, you know what you're going for, you know what you're going up against. So if you can, always try to, in a crap hit the fan situation, try to conceal your weaponry and have weaponry and understand that anything can be used as a weapon. It doesn't matter if it's an axe, doesn't matter if it's a knife, a gun,
A bat with nails.
things. Yeah, bat with nails. That one's a little gory.
Hey,
But as far as hunting purposes, be sure to get a good bow or learn how to make a bow. Be sure to get a good knife. You're going to need a good knife while cleaning your food, if you're cutting your fish, if you're chopping fillets, you're going to need a lot of that stuff. Arrowheads are very important too. You don't have to make your arrows. You can make them, but it's generally harder. They have sets where you can buy 40, 50 arrows. Handheld crossbows, those things. You can use handheld crossbows. And to be honest with you, the arrows come, I think, I forgot how many it is, but you can buy 50 packs, 20 packs. You can buy a lot of different things. So as far as weaponry goes, get creative if you got to. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free, because this is about the time that you'd want to start asking. Been on for about an hour and a half.
yep.
So I definitely want to once again thank everybody who's listening in, who's learning, who's taking the time.
Tasha, she did say something that very important also, know what your ancestors did. You might have all these weapons, but can you survive? Can you cook? Do you know how to make things out of the nature? What to find, what to use. So those books might help out a lot. Things you might have not known. Obviously, they learned that from the ancient people. So.
Oh yeah, because the majority, I bring that up a lot, is everyone brings up the ancestors, but not many people know what the ancestors did. They talk a lot about them, but it's hard to learn, being able to fish, hunt, and everything. Okay, there we go. Kizzy. No, actually, you find people who do a lot of classes, and you can find archery classes for cheap. Go out, make sure you get a bow that's good for you. You'll learn the poundage, the draw weight, how much you need to draw, what type of bow is good for you, what feels good in your hands. You'll find the arrow length that you need. Some people prefer a 30 or 40 pound draw. It depends on the individual and the bow, but it's not very expensive. It's not very expensive. Oh yeah, good knife sharpener. You can either use a handheld knife sharpener, or you can use. Yeah, you can use rocks. Definitely.
Rocks and water.
Yes. If you use the right rock, but it has to be harder than steel though. You grab just a regular piece of concrete, you're just gonna end up destroying your blade.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is a lot of good stuff out here. Take and learn while you can, because realistically, with the situation at hand, no one knows how long it's going to be, and no one knows how long nature is going to hold out. So with hurricanes, tornadoes, flash floods, civil unrest, EMPs, there's so many different things that can occur that could change life as we know it, and take us back to being a lot simpler, and that's a very big thing. So learn this while we have the chance. Like I said, there's a plethora of information just sitting out there. I would definitely like to thank everybody for coming out, and sorry I kind of overran the show, but like I said, if anyone does have questions, please feel free to ask. I will do later videos. We'll probably get into a different realm of survival. As far as that was just preparedness, then we can talk about as far as knowing what you're doing, listening, being able to evade danger, setting up booby traps, learning hunting traps. The biggest thing when it comes to survival, especially when you're dealing with other people, marauders, bandits, these things will be real. There will be gangs, there will be different types of predators. And I'm not talking about animal predators, I'm talking about human predators, people who are going to prey on what you have and what want you have. Oh, Tasha, that would be, you can use aluminum foil, but you can find out how to make a homemade Faraday cage. So anything with metal to put that phone in will block an EMP.
There's some good videos on YouTube, like this guy, Primitive Technology. He does a lot of good
Yes.
stuff naturally. He's making a bow and arrow right now, so I recommend him highly. I watch him a lot,
and learn what you can while you can. Also, there's a series for anybody who gets a chance to watch it. It's called The Colony. The Colony is a show where they take multiple different people from different backgrounds, they bring them together, and they have to survive. The first season is just, it'll tell you what you'll go through. It'll tell you how to understand the mentality. It'll tell you how to understand. Yeah, there we go. The Colony, that one. It'll give you certain circumstances. They look at it from a psychological standpoint, a physical standpoint, how people keep motivated. Those things will show you, because people think survival is just survival. It really isn't. It takes its toll, mental, physical, emotional. You'll begin to miss your family. You'll begin to deal, especially the mental. The mental will break you. The mental will get you really quickly. Let me see. Okay, Kizzy, explain a little more. You said, what about females and babies? I would definitely need something that a little more to go off of. My apologies. Yeah, it's a wonderful show. If you really look at the show in its entirety, it's a great show. And it puts you in the mind frame of what would happen, especially for individuals in the city, because we're all not going to make it out to the woods. Many of us have family and friends. We have elderly people. We have people who are going to depend on us. And some of us are going to have to fight it out in the cities. And what that show does is it shows you from an aspect of a city how to create energy, how to create types of fuel, how to hunt. And it puts them in situations where they're not always doing the best. So for them, many of them have a hard time, some adapting, some coping, some develop mental issues such as paranoid personality disorder. It tells about leadership. Individuals who are going to be leaders is going to tell you about how to process things mentally. What happens when you don't have proper calories is going to literally give you an overlook and a complete overview of how to survive. And I mean, these things are very important. People look at the physical aspect, but there is an aspect that most people don't look at. Now, okay, here we go. G West as single mothers. This is going to sound strange, but a single mother is the most dangerous person you can ever run into.
Yep.
That is that I'm going to be straight up with you. Everyone thinks big, brawly men are someone who are dangerous. No, a single mother or a mother protecting her children is the most dangerous person you want to run into, because one, they're a female. Most people underestimate how dangerous a female can be. One, that one should actually be a whole nother build. Yeah. But I will give you just some hints. But that one, as far as learning who to deal with, how to deal with, and what can happen. Now, that is a whole nother build. You have to know who you can trust, who you can't trust, who you can deal with, who you can't deal with. And then you have to understand that also not being biased or not being culturally biased or women have the capability, and it's easier for a woman to manipulate than it is for a male to, because men normally see men as dangerous. Now, men think that some women can be a form of prey, but those women are very, very dangerous. Women can hide behind many masks. As a man will have a big stature or a small stature or different statures, a female generally is extremely, extremely dangerous. I cannot say how dangerous they are, only because they are underestimated. Anything we can do, they can do. So it's not like there's in part, you know, yeah, I'm not going to get into that whole discussion because I'm not going to touch on that, but I will let you know that women can be as predatory, if not more predatory. And when you put mothering and nurturing and children in the picture, women will devastate way more than most men can. So I will leave it at that. I'll leave it at that, and we'll do a later build on body types, what type of body types to look out for, what body types are dangerous, what body types are easy to figure out. That's a whole nother build. Okay, now we have yeah, you can also do, be sure, that was another thing about first aid. When it comes to first aid, there's I didn't mention this before, but feminine products are good to keep around, only not for females, but they are good for plugging bullet holes, different things like that. So it's always good to keep feminine products around. Those, as far as for cleaning, as far as for you know, keeping yourself clean, bars of soap are very important. Bartering. I got, me personally, this is, don't laugh at me either, y'all. I have 600 bars of soap because one, getting lye, getting fat, getting everything in order to make soap, I'm fine with that. But soap is a bartering tool. When crap hits the fan, things that people don't value today, like soap, toilet paper, travel size shampoos, people will barter food because that gives them the feeling of comfort. It gives them a feeling of it feels like they're back where they should be. So dealing with that, dealing with the system of bartering, that is going to be very, very important. Okay, water. Okay, hold on one second. Let me grab this. Gotta grab my charger, y'all. Cody Mail, go ahead and jump in. I gotta grab this charger.
Anybody who just joined us recently, we did go over, well, a new went over what you can carry, what things you should carry from a food, clothing, weapons, you know, survival, anything, blankets, you know, anything like that. You can just rewatch the video later on. You know, make sure to, like, you know, watch as many times as you can to make sure you know you're ready, you're prepared, you got all these things, or you can make it yourself. So highly recommended. Share with your family, people you care, people you love, so they can be ready. Because ain't nobody out here doing this, talking about this. So make sure you take advantage. And yeah, Lady Jacob, trust no stranger. That's what Anu was saying. You know, like, don't try not to make noise. Try not to get bright colors. Don't be out there, you know, being noticeable.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And be sure, as far as with the bug out bags, be sure that you go travel with your bug out bag on you. You want your body to adapt to the weight of the bug out bag. Then you can learn what you can carry, also while gaining strength. No point in having a bug out bag and you can't carry it, because then you're stuck taking, you know, things away from it. As far as a long trip, there we go. What would I pack if I were taking a long road trip? Okay, now, oh, that one was at Kizzy. All right, I don't have to answer that one. Yeah, basically that's what you want to do. Even in a situation that we have today, with winter coming up and some people living in cold climates, you want to pack some of these survival things just in case. Say, for instance, your car slides off the road, your car goes dead, your battery goes dead. We never know what can happen. So it's, you know, keep a 12 pack of water in your car. Try and be sure to keep an extra blanket in your car. I personally keep a small heater in the car just in case. De-icer, that's always important. I try to make sure that I keep a small cooking stove. And like I said, I make them out of a 1 quart paint can and a soup can. Cost me $2. And I keep some extra sticks in there. So just in case, you never know what's going to happen. So I'd rather be caught with than caught without. So keeping a couple bags of ramen noodles in my car, you know, just small things like that. So that's what I prefer. Not telling everybody they have to, but also understand what you can and can't carry. So there's so much to it. I haven't even got on like regular gas generators. Survival is big, but you also want to remember not to make too much noise and not to draw attention. So we'll step into the world of the gray man again. I have a video that speaks on being a gray man, how to blend in. Also, be sure that you don't stand out. If people are in line for food, you go in line and get food. If people are waiting, you don't want to give any indication that you have what they don't. So if people go down and they're standing in line for food, go down there. If the people around you look dirty, look dirty. Don't go looking clean, and don't try and be classy. In a world without rule of law, you make yourself a target. There are no cops to protect you. So your best bet to blend in is to look as poor and as dirty as the people around you. Ultimately, figuring out who's the leader. Humble yourself and learn and educate. Not everyone's meant to be a leader. Some people are meant to be farmers. Some people are meant to be hunters. Everyone has a job. But if you're not humble enough to know your position, you are expendable at that point. Because when there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, the pack has to be thinned until one chief stands supreme. So I just say that because it takes all of us together in order to build a better tomorrow. And the thing is, everybody wants a position of power, but nobody wants that position when things go bad. And understand, when people put themselves up there and they're like, I want to be the leader, you won't just be the leader in good times, you'll be the leader in bad times. And generally, when people want to climb to the top of the totem pole, they're taking the leader out first. They're not going for the young ones. They're not going for the people who are under. So being a leader comes with a lot of responsibility. So understand, be humble. Each person has a role. And generally, and this is something very important, there are 2 books that I read. One is The Art of War, 3rd translation by Sun Tzu. I know that book in and out. That's my book. The second is 48 Laws of Power. I don't use it as a manipulative tool, but you use it to know when people are manipulating you. 2 wonderful books. And I use those because in a stuff hit the fan situation, people will be doing the things that are in those books. They will be attempting to manipulate. When you look weak, you are really strong. When you are strong, you are really weak. And there are a couple translations. They're The Art of War. I've got the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd translation. 3rd translation is the easiest one to understand. 1st is Sun Tzu's direct translation. A little harder to understand, but phenomenal book. Second translation breaks it down a little more, but by far my favorite is the 3rd. There's so many things, and this is going to be a couple different builds. So think been on for 2 hours. So I'm actually going to go ahead and end it. But I hope everyone learned something very important. Um, Once again, if you have any questions, please feel free to go ahead and drop me a link on my email, and I can try and build. Generally, give a build with a person. Send an email if you have any questions about your climate, different things like that. But prepare yourself, because we don't know what's going on. And right now, with the threat of civil unrest, I'd rather have people be prepared. And remember, don't only prep for yourself, because you never know when that person with a kid or a child is going to need food. So make sure you prep a little extra so you can give a helping hand and be a blessing to someone, and maybe they can pass that blessing on. I've studied my ancestors' ways. I've gone out, I've hunted, I've been out in the woods. I've done it. Learn everything you can while you have the chance.
Yep.
So,
Well, on behalf of everybody, man, I just want to thank you. Anu actually been helping me for a lot of months now, getting ready. I've been all his advice. I made sure I took notes and I did it. I didn't just wait. I didn't think about it. I just got it, and I'm very glad I did. For me and my family. So make sure to take advantage of this. I'm not gonna tell you who to watch or what to do in your free time, but make sure you're taking advantage of your time. Don't be, I know you people like entertainment. You could sit, if you can sit and watch people for 5 hours and fight and argue and just talk and do nothing, then you could actually take the time to watch these kind of videos, prepare, read these books, and do all this. So, take advantage.
oh, definitely. Definitely. Take your time and learn. Learn while you have the chance. Our ancestors didn't have these opportunities. So take the opportunity you have and learn, stock up, store. And like I said, be a helping hand and a blessing to someone. Make sure you're constantly helping people rise above their problems and situations. Being prepared is not just a physical or how many things you have, it's a mental and it's an emotional thing, where those who have something to live for will continue to fight. Those who feel like they have nothing to live for won't fight, or they become savage, for lack of better words. And just continue to be a blessing to people and find light within this. Find light within a better tomorrow and making a better generation. Now, there are limits to your trust, of course, understand that. But also creating communities, understanding, and there are shows that have told us what's going to happen. I could get into the analogies of The Walking Dead all day long about the brainless and the mindless who are going to follow, and those who will. You can look at The Walking Dead as an analogy of what's going to happen in the unprepared. They're going to eat anything and everything. People will turn cannibalistic. People will turn into pretty much monsters. And I don't mean that in a term of the people will turn into the darker side of what we are afraid to become. But if you prepare, you don't have to become that thing that people fear. So gain knowledge, understand, be ready, because no one knows, and this is real, and people can question. No one knows the monster that lies behind someone until they're forced into that corner and they're starving. Avoid being that monster and avoid allowing other people to become that monster. Be sure that they have that piece of nature, that piece of mind, that piece of, I'll say humanity for lack of better terms, but love. So I definitely want to thank everybody for coming out. Please feel free to share. Get this out to all the ones. who you feel it needs to go to, and drop a comment and let me know what you think I should build on next time. If I missed anything and you feel it's important, but I'll go ahead.
No, sorry, no.
But I will get into food storage, food preparation, burying your food. I will get into smoking your food, how to properly prepare your food. Me and Cody Mayo will kind of put some slides together and try and get on it. And I definitely want to thank him for the help. I'm not tech savvy, so he's been doing the pictures for me. It's greatly appreciated.
Yeah, no problem, man. That's what we got to do. We got to work together, not fight each other.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, like I said, drop me an email, drop me some comments. Go ahead, let me know what I missed, because we will be doing more builds as things continue to continue to progress. Like I said, we're living in a very uncertain world right now, so we just have to see what goes on, and I'll continue to pump out some information and prepare while you can. Even if you go to the dollar store, get a couple bags of rice. On average, keep at least 6 to 7 days worth of food. If you can, 3 to 6 months worth of food. The best thing is to deter the monster from ever having to come out by preparing. So once again, I want to thank everybody. Definitely enjoy. Can we leave on anybody got something to say for some leaving comments?
Yeah, I mean, just like I was trying to say is what's really important, these days. And, one thing is unity. One thing is being prepared, like what News is emphasizing. He's been emphasizing this to me for a while now. And I made sure I listened. So I hope everybody, listens and don't wait till the last minute, do it now. So a lot of people say, I'll do it later, and they never do it. So just make sure to, take advantage of this. This people sell info like this. You ain't gonna find all this info like that in one place, and somebody willing to show you and teach you. I knew it doesn't have to do this, but he wants to. He wants to help. He wants to make sure people are ready and prepared, the right ones, the real people, the good people out there. So take advantage.
Oh, definitely. I want to make sure that there's a better tomorrow for all of us, not just some. I want to make sure we look 7 generations ahead. So for me, this is more than just teaching people how to survive. This is an investment in the future.
Yeah.
Like I said, we don't know what's going to happen. And the last thing I want to hear is, bad things happen to wonderful people. So prepare while you can. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. Yeah, give me a shout. Like I said, drop me a line. Thanks again, Opie. You've been doing the thing in the chat. Wanagi, everybody who showed up. I mean, I do want to thank y'all. So if you're ready, you ain't got to get ready. Opie, you got any last words, my friend?
Yeah, one love to the chat. One love to you brothers up here. Peace.
One love.
Oh, definitely. So yeah, we'll definitely do another build. So please be looking out. Once again, I'll probably be on time next time, but that's my fault. I'm not tech savvy, so I got to walk through this stuff. But my apologies, and I hope y'all enjoy. And y'all stay blessed. Spread love, not war. Enjoy the day, and I definitely get at y'all. So